Good day. This is a game from Moroccan master Mohamed Tissir as white and Magnus Carlsen as black. And as you can guess, the reason why I'm showing you this endgame is because Magnus did win this drawer's position. My name's David Miedema and I made this video for the Remote Chess Academy. Did you ever find yourself in an endgame which was so boring that you couldn't produce any good moves, while your opponent just seems to know what to do? Would you say that you would lose this endgame with both colors against a stronger player? Well, then it's good to take a more careful look at this position. And it looks innocent, but I would like to invite you to evaluate it and write down your precise thoughts here. So become aware of your own thought process, because that's what we're going to improve in this course. We will see a lot of boring positions. Well, I don't really like the term boring, because in the end it's a lot of fun if you know how to play these positions. But these boring positions, they don't have a king to attack, and I will promise you that one of the most important improvements for your chess is to study what to do in these quiet positions. If you could win this against any lower rated opponent, you will gain a lot of elo fast. So pause the video now and write down your thought process. Who's better and why? I'll explain in a minute what has happened 10 moves later, and this later position will exactly explain the line of thought you should have followed. So pause now. So what happened? Black played f6, c4, f5, which seems to be a little bit strange, but when we see the rest of it, it makes sense. Knight g5 check is not a real threat, so he has to go back. Rook c8, now attacking the pawn on c4, king b1, knight f7, knight d5, b5, c takes b5, a takes b5, a3, knight d6, knight c3, rook c4, king a2, g5, king b3, rook f4, rook d2, knight c4, and rook c2. As we can see, after 10 moves, the position has changed a lot, and we can learn from what has happened. Can you see the difference? Black has improved his rook dramatically, for example, and he has pushed a lot more pawns than white. So as we can see, black has already 4 pawns on the 5th rank, and white only moved 1 pawn from its initial position. So the rule is pawns need to be pushed. Especially in these quiet positions, pushing pawns is very important. From now on I will show you the moves without a lot of commentary, just to see the process of winning such an endgame. In our course on Magnus Carlsen, we will take a more thorough look at this style. For example, the way to win endgames like these, his calculation skills, his preferred positions, and in the end, you will be able to play a little more like a genius as well. Knight a5 check, king a2, b4, a takes b4, knight c6, king a3, knight takes b4, rook d2, knight c6. And in our course we will take a closer look at why black is better now. For the moment I will just go on. Knight a4, knight d4, knight c3, rook h4, h3, g4, h takes g4, rook takes g4, f3, rook g8, king a2, h5, b4, h4, knight e2, knight c6, b5, knight b4 check, king b3, knight d5, knight c3, knight e3, b6, knight takes g2, knight a4, a3, knight c5 check, king f7, knight d7, h2, rook d1, and in this position I would like you to find a nice tactical blow for black. So try to finish the game for Magnus here. So pause the video. The move you should have found here is a little trick, and it's knight e1, because after rook takes e1, rook g1, knight takes e5, king g7, white doesn't have any way left to stop the h-pawn. After rook a2 and h1 queen, Mohammad Tisir resigned. Black has won this quiet endgame in a few steps, and this is not a very rare occurrence for Magnus. As you know, and you've probably seen him do it in a lot of live games, he wins these endgames time after time. He calmly outmaneuvers his opponents from a very young age already, and in my course on Magnus Carlsen I will take a closer look at how he got to where he is now. And we'll also see a possible antidote to Carlsen's play. So buy our brand new course and get a little closer to the Mozart of chess.